Real.
That is real.
All right, we need.
Okay,
Well,
maybe 8. I don't know.
Say we're taking Caroline's height advice here. And
What are you trying to say right now?
When you're Caroline's height, there's really no difference between 8 and 9 feet. It's all way up there.
True. Very true.
Okay,
That's
that's
even
true.
really
but
true for me.
I have stems that have come out from the ground. They're all growing like it is totally 9 feet.
Yes.
I'm going to prove all y'all wrong.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
And we're going to bring that
All
picture
right.
up on the show next week, and you're all going to have to apologize to me. And I will be waiting. All right, let's talk about cherry trees. So we have a question that asks, my cherry tree lost all of its leaves recently. Is it dead?
No.
No.
Good.
Far from dead.
They do this all the time.
Every year, pretty much every. You know what's funny though?
What?
I pass this house going home every day or coming to work every day. Either way, there's 3 cherry trees planted in the yard. 2 of them, I mean, these are like mature cherry trees. Like they're nice. I see them bloom in the spring. 2 of them totally leafless, no leaves whatsoever. And then the other one next to it is like probably still has like 70% of its leaves. And I'm like, why?
It's an unusual phenomenon.
It is.
You know,
They look
and
like
it
the
could-
same tree.
They don't necessarily have to be different varieties of cherries. They just are different individuals. And
Exactly.
I've got a Mount Fuji in my side yard that it's not unusual for it to be totally barren of foliage by the 1st of August. Now this year it hung on till about the middle of August, maybe a little later. But it always drops extremely early, and there's others around my neighborhood that really hold on through the fall. So I think it's an individual characteristic that is exhibited by every different cherry, and it's what its cycle is for going into dormancy.
We're done.
Yeah.
We can only take so much.
Yeah, they just shut down, but they've got very prominent buds for next season, so you can always look along the stems and see the buds. They're real juicy. They're good looking. They're like red-ish, and if you see that, then you're plenty good for next season. They're going to bloom. It's going to be great.
It's going to be wonderful and beautiful. It's always so nice when they're in bloom.
Oh, they're some of the best.
They are. Seeing like a line of those planted when they're all in bloom is just breathtaking. I wish they lasted a little bit longer, but to me, that's a sign that, spring is here. Summer's on its way. It's going to get real hot.
Hey.
Hey, Tyler.
Hi. Good morning.
Hi.
Kim Bradley on the Bates Facebook page.
What's up, Kim?
Is saying good morning from Jolton, but also I'm having a terrible time with squirrels in my containers.
Oh, no.
No, red pepper doesn't work. They laugh at crushed red pepper. Help.
The witness relocation program is what I call it. You need to invest, Kim, in a couple of what's
Traps.
commonly referred to as a have-a-heart trap. And they are a humane trap that allows you to, has a spring-loaded door on it that you open up, and that door is actuated by the depressing of a trigger that's in the back of it that you have put food on. Now, for squirrels, a dab of peanut butter and maybe a couple of sunflower seeds works perfectly. They can't resist going in there, and as soon as they touch, if you set the trap right, and you need to really set it on the what I call the hair trigger setting, where that when it's just barely touched, because squirrels are light. So if you set it where it's a real hard release, sometimes they can get in and get out. But set that in there, you'll catch it. And then you can do the witness relocation program, which is in an approved location. You can take that squirrel elsewhere.
Trap and release.
They're so annoying.
Well, if you're not as concerned about a squirrel's fate, you can invest in a pellet gun or something.
No,
like
they're
that.
too cute.
They're not cute.
Caroline, they're tree rats. Okay,
They're annoying.
rats.
I also love rats, so I don't know.
would
Well,
tell you
then that indicates something about you.
That I'm a
squirrel
fun,
and
very nice person. That's exactly
squirrel
what it
and
is.
dumplings are one of my all-time
It's
favorites.
my
great.
goodness.
Yes. No, seriously, it's
know.
good.
So, but if nothing else, you can relocate them to an approved area. And if you're going to put them on somebody else's property, you need to have their permission to be able to do that. You cannot legally just go release them in a park area. So just be advised.
Don't get yourself in trouble.
you'll have Randall Lance breathing down your throat if you do that. You don't want that.
You don't. Nope.
Don't want that.
Randall Lance. Shout out to Randall Lance. He was out here at the nursery about a week ago Bought a lot of trees, a lot of plants.
Randall.
Good to see
looking
him
forward
again.
to having him back on. You know, I don't know that we have discussed this at all. The Nashville Lawn and Garden Show is no more. I guess we did mention it
We
briefly.
did, yeah.
And it's been an annual thing. We've had Randall on at least on an annual basis. So we're going to continue that trend, even though that show is done. We're going to find a time coming into spring, because I think that's the surest sign that spring is on the way when Randall Lance makes
Yes.
an appearance.
Yeah.
Yes.
When he appears, he's like
On the
Frosty
show.
the Snowman in a way,
Except in the reverse.
except in the reverse.
He emerges from his winter dormancy.
Yes.
And brings all the flowers along with them.
Hey, you know what we ought to talk about for just a moment? Speaking of all the things that help you to grow, and you know, Randall's one of those guys who certainly is in the know. Check out Earth Mix Garden Products, and it's a brand that we fervently believe in. We've been working on developing and continue to develop on Earth Mix Garden Products for about 20 years now, in earnest for the last 15 years, I would say, and it is a 100% organic. It is the most viable and productive soil and media mix that you can get anywhere. And the unique thing about it is that you can't just get it anywhere. You have to go to other professional plant sellers, and we have a whole network of them. If you go to the earthmix.net website, which is what I've got up here, click on the Find Earth Mix tab. Once you're there, it'll bring you to a map. It'll show you all the points around your area, and if we're lucky, it'll scale on back down to something that's more local. Don't know if that'll happen or not.
Sierra Leone.
My settings thing is not set correctly, but
allow your
regardless
location,
of the-
David. It's a privacy permission.
Yes, I'm going to have to allow that. So anyway, I'm not going to go into all that and deal
There
with the
we go.
settings, but there we go. So there you are throughout Tennessee, Kentucky, even up into all into southern Ohio, southern Indiana. We've got not Indiana, but in Ohio anyway, over into northern Alabama, and there's more locations are always coming on. You can either type your address in, or you can zoom in to a location near you for turn-by-turn directions. And you can also see a list of what that particular seller, what products that they carry. Not everybody carries the entire line. So check that out if you want to find that out. The main thing is that remember that success in gardening begins at the ground level when you use Earth Mix Garden Products. And we believe that to be true, and we know it to be true. If you want to take the guesswork and you want to take the work part out of gardening, using Earth Mix up your success rate incrementally. If you can just water and manage to get that in the ground with Earth Mix Garden Products, you're going to have success. So check it out. Any of the locations around, check out Earth Mix. We appreciate you giving us a moment to talk about that and to help you reduce your gardening efforts.
Adam's method of adding supernatural seasonally to top your beds off and work that in has worked really well. And I did that just 2 weeks ago to get my fall little veggies planted.
I did too. Yep.
It's a winning
I don't think there's
combination.
anything better you can do, because Earth Mix products are not sold as a fertilizer. However, your plants don't know that.
That is true.
It's a little secret that we don't tell them.
All the roots know in the soil is that, oh, hey, there's some copper. Ooh.
Ooh, that was fun.
You know what else
Hey,
folks
there's
don't know,
mycorrhizal
though?
fungi. Hey, there's humic
What?
acid.
What don't
Exactly.
they know?
They don't know
What's in room with Caroline?
So let's let them know.
They don't. And I bet what they're wondering the most is what's under the TV today. So if you shoot back over there, that gorgeous orange color. Yeah, you heard Austin right there. That's Tiger Eyes sumac. So I know
They are
Austin has
stunning.
one, which he has not put in the ground yet. How long have you had it in a pot?
Thanks. Over.
I wanted to talk about how plants can be in pots. I wasn't trying to give you a hard time.
Well,
Well, it'll go in the ground one day.
I will.
it'll get in there.
It will. But when we were decorating the room yesterday, we saw those and absolutely had to bring them in. So that's the fall color. We went for a fall theme on that side of the room today. They're starting to change.
They really light
And I
up.
mean, my God, that is absolutely stunning. And then up in the corner, corner behind you, Adam. Yes. There. We got we got 3 Vannas on that side today.
Yep.
That is Dusky Maiden Smoke Tree. I keep accidentally calling it Dusty Maiden, but that's not the right name.
Dusky.
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 No,
It's
Dusty.
So that
Dusty,
means like at the
Dusty
late
Maiden,
part of the day, right?
Right,
Yeah,
correct.
No, Dusty Maiden was one of my names, stage names in college.
Yeah, you were Dusty Maiden.
Yep.
Then this is Dusky Maiden, so not Adam's stage name.
No.
But
No relation.
that gorgeous, like kind of chocolatey red color. It's got little leaves. I don't have a smoke tree, and I've been wanting one for a while. And maybe this year I will
Well, it can
finally get
also
one.
be called smoke bush.
It can also be called smoke bush, but
Yes.
they get huge.
but they're more
Yes.
like a tree.
They're
They are.
more
They
like
just-
a tree.
They
But-
grow fast and big.
and their blooms make it look like there's smoke coming out. It's like kind of a reddish magenta-y color. I think they're gorgeous. I know they grow like weeds. David, I think you have one or two that you say Renee
We've
cuts
got
back on
a
every year.
royal purple in our front yard,
Classic.
and it's
Classic.
and it's one of those that if you're going to have one and you're going to have it in kind of an area where there are other things with it, you have to not be afraid to prune it. And, we probably prune it fairly severely, at least a couple of times a year. Otherwise,
Wow.
it just gets way out of hand.
Yeah.
I mean, it really puts on the growth. I will generally cut it back to the ground coming out of winter, and it'll flush up nice and look good. If you can wait until after it flowers and then cut it severely again, it's just by the time it flowers, it's already gotten back up
5
6
foot,
feet
6
tall
foot.
or more.
Yeah.
I mean, it's big.
So it grows
Crazy.
faster than a mimosa is what you're saying.
It is one of those plants. If you've got it in a planter area, you've got to stay on top of it because it wants to take over.
Wants to take over. One day I'll get one. And I'll be really happy about it. All right, but down in front, we've got some black mondo. Thank you, Adam, showing that off. Black mondo grass. Thank you, Tyler. A great little shade grass. Another thing I want to plant. I don't have any, but maybe one day I will. And then a sun one, we've got gold strike juniper, which is going to be that gorgeous kind of bronzy look. It's starting to bronze. Fall is here, and that's the color you're going to get with these in the fall. So really pretty.
While these look great together on the set, you can never actually use them together on the
Correct.
landscape.
You could not. But what you can use with these junipers, it's really hard to see them. We only had a few back in perennials. Thank you, Adam, is a Heliopsis. So it's a perennial sunflower. I can't remember the variety.
Gosh,
but
went
this one
behind my
has like
head.
chocolate colored. Whoa, that was crazy. You brought it all the way behind. It was like a magic trick. Pretty much black leaves on the plant. So when it's not in flowering, when it's not in show, it still has those leaves that I would say, for me, it's got that goth look. It's got a little bit of interest because it's a really
Halloween,
nice leaf
would you say
color.
for Halloween?
I would say for Halloween, yeah. That and the mondo grass and the dusky maiden.
All these dusky dark tigers over here. We got something going on.
We do have something going on, but what do we have going on over here?
I don't know.
So we went with an opposite theme on this side of the room, and you could probably tell Austin had a hand in this side, pink and white flowers. His favorite colors. So we've got more of an Austin theme over here. We went fall, we went Austin over here. We've got a dahlia up top right here. A little bit later in the broadcast, we are going to talk a little bit about Melissa, one of our greenhouse workers. She's growing dahlias right now, and they're absolutely stunning. Hey, that's a close-up shot. There we go.
I'm getting that
now
dahlia.
we can show it off. And that's Royal Purple. Venti Royal Purple is the name of this one, and it was the only one we have back there. So if you want it, you better run.
All right.
All right. And then down in front, we've got white pansies. I mean, classic, clean, beautiful.
Can't beat it.
Can't beat it. And look at
Awesome.
them. They're huge, and they're just, they're showing off right now, and they're going to be showing off for a long time. My pansies that I planted, I guess about 2 weeks ago now, they're already established. I deadheaded them after I planted them, after I took the picture, and they're already flushing back out. So great little winter, fall option for you. We got black mondo grass on this side. We just had to tie it in a little bit. Had to keep a little bit of darkness since it is Halloween season amongst all this
Yes.
cheery white and pink flowers.
Now, when you're coming out to get some of this black mondo, just make sure you understand that a 1 gallon is not cheap.
It's not.
Because it's
These-
so
yeah.
slow growing Yes. So was it $20, $25 for a 1 gallon?
I mean,
don't
just
remember.
Probably these are $12.99. I
Yeah,
believe.
this is
Yeah,
a bitty guy.
and we can
Totally worth it,
barely
though.
get any.
Yeah, we
I
can
mean,
barely
we
get
only
any.
can get a few
Yeah.
as we go along. So they're in high demand. They're very slow to grow, but
Very
they are
gorgeous.
very cool.
They are very cool. And speaking of kind of expensive and slow to grow, I brought in some hellebore today. I think this is ice and roses.
I thought you were going
I
to talk
didn't
about
bring
me.
that.
Speaking of what?
Expensive and slow to grow.
Expensive and slow to grow. I love hellebore. They are another one that grow really, really slow, so the price point on them is a little bit high, but totally worth it. People are always asking about winter interest flowers or foliage. This is a great one. It's going to be one of the first things that bloom that signal a sign that spring is almost here. They bloom towards the end of winter, and they actually stay up. They hold their green throughout the winter. Mine stayed up through the December freeze. I don't have a lot of them, but once the snow melted, they looked fine. I had a little bit of frost damage on some that were up a little bit higher, but everything that was down low, it actually looked fantastic. So this is one of my favorite, more shade-loving winter interest perennials. And then lastly, Austin, go ahead and hold it up. We've got this cute little heather. I don't think we'd ever gotten these here before, at least not in the last few years.
That's because it doesn't really grow here.
It doesn't grow here, but Julie said, I saw it on an order form and I had to just go ahead and get it. And I'm telling you, when they came off the racks, when they came off the truck, we saw them on the racks and everyone was like, what is that? I need it. So
And they'll
super
be great
cute.
until weather gets hot.
Yeah,
When weather gets hot, they can't handle it.
they can't handle it, but a great mixed container plant. It's so cute. We actually have purple ones as well. So we've got this kind of rose, pink color and purple. So you can, snag that. Put
Just
it in
treat
your
it like
mixed
a
containers.
winter annual.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's definitely great for that.
And
yeah.
and back to the hellebores, just briefly, they are one of the few truly bulletproof plants. I mean, apart from if
Seed
you
'em.
make the mistake of planting it in full sun all day long, anything other than that, you can't. I mean, they are almost invincible. There's just nothing that seems to bother them. They come back year after year, and they are dynamic first flower plants.
David,
great.
how hot would be too hot for the heather? I'm just curious.
Temperature wise,
Yeah.
it's really more about it doesn't like
Humidity.
that much sun, but and humidity in the sun. But I would say you don't
Humidity
really want
here?
it.
What? No.
I would say it does not like getting above. If it's in a full sun situation and it gets above 85 degrees,
Yes.
or maybe it's going to start
Yeah.
toasting. It
Yeah.
probably won't kill it, but it will look really bad.
Well, if you look I know the old Monrovia tags used to have this,
Heat zones.
but yeah, they would have the cold zone, but they'd also have the heat zone, and they would have days above 85 degrees. Okay, and heather is less than 10. I would guarantee you, because
Absolutely.
where it grows
Oh.
is in Scotland and other higher
Oregon.
yeah, I mean high elevation, high alt or whatever longitude, latitude. They just
temperate
crisp up,
climates.
Yeah.
We're considered temperate, but we're extremely temperate.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We're temperate to the maximum.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it gets, we
Temperate
get
to
the
the
triple
scale
digits,
is
we
higher.
get the minus numbers. So that's extremely temperate.
But still, cute little plant. Use it in the winter
Oh,
in your
sure,
mixed
sure,
containers.
sure. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about viburnum. So we have a viewer that's asking, are viburnums pretty easy to grow? I need to hide pool equipment and it's shady and wet.
Ooh, shady and I mean, I was gonna be like, yes, viburnum's super easy to grow, and it is, but shady and wet.
That's
it
a
wet
combo right there.
all the time? Shady and wet is the hardest scenario for us. It's tricky. There's not a lot of plants that really like that. But
no.
I mean, viburnum is one of the hardiest plants you can grow. Certainly, like across the board, almost every viburnum is very easy to grow. Now, if it's sitting wet all the time, I don't know. I don't know about that. I mean, if it drains,
Yeah.
if it gets wet and then it drains, like viburnum would probably be fine with that. But if it stays wet all the time, you might see issues.
And here's the other thing. He's saying pool equipment, which clearly means it's pool water, which means it has chlorine in it
Or salt.
or salt. If it's so whatever you're planting there is going to have to be extremely tough. So
I mean,
I would say it's very hard.
What about IT? Maybe ITEA.
Maybe
would be
ITEA,
the way.
but
I think would
it's
be
not
the-
evergreen.
No, it's not evergreen. It's got
So-
great fall color.
Yeah.
And it has
Well, that's
great,
something.
like, late spring blooms.
Maybe Spirea.
Spirea could probably handle
Yeah.
that. They wouldn't
But
want the shade all that. I don't know how shady it is. Ugh. Shady and
I've
wet
seen
is so tough.
I've seen the older varieties grow
Oh,
in
yeah.
the shade.
The Van Hoodia.
Van Hooties
the
can grow in the shade.
bridal
so.
wreath Spirea,
Yeah.
them big white ones you see in
Yeah.
the early spring. Yeah, that would
Yeah.
probably handle that. And honestly, maybe Viburnum would handle that.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a very hardy shrub. So
I would go with more of the native ones though, like Arrowwood or something
Arrowwood,
like
yeah.
that.
What about Fothergilla? Would that work?
maybe.
I mean, it's still
I don't
not
think it would
evergreen,
like
but-
the wet.
I know the wet is the
Conditions.
tricky part.
I gotta say, I have a Fothergilla row of them, and I had a window unit installed in my window right above the row, and the one that's doing best is the one that gets all of the water draining.
That's
off
because you don't
of the
water
window
any of your
unit.
stuff, Caroline.
But it stays wet. It's constantly dripping, and that area just holds water. And the one on the upside of the hill, because it's at a slope, because I don't water, was struggling and was not looking great the last time I looked at it. So it can
Yeah.
get a little bit of wet
Maybe
feet.
it would work.
Nice.
Yeah.
Mine's planted right next to my AC drain outlet.
And it, yeah.
Yeah, and
just wild.
it's taking it.
Yeah, Fothergilla does. It's totally okay with a little bit of wetness.
I mean, are there any grasses? I know Korean featherweed glasses. Grass likes
for
a
you
little
to
bit of
say.
shade or can tolerate some shade, but I don't know if it can tolerate wet feet though.
Oh, they can tolerate wet feet.
And
I
it might
like-
not be that shaded. You know, some people think they
Sedges.
don't have a lot of sun, but they do.
Yeah. sedges would work, but I don't think they get tall enough to hide anything.
To
Nah.
hide. Yeah. Come on out, see us. Take a
Yeah.
picture of that spot, or maybe a little video, and we can help you.
Maybe it
On
needs
your
to be
quest.
something taller that's a little more water tolerant in behind and sedges in front. Even
Sure.
if it's deciduous that way, you at least have the sedges stay up and stay green throughout the season. So you may require not a singular plant approach. It may require a couple of levels to get that desired look.
Jack on
Because
the,
after all, how much are you looking at it during the winter time anyway? Probably
Right.
not much.
Jack on the Bates Facebook page, thank you for tuning in and asking your question. I propagated some hydrangeas and some hosta. Should I leave them potted till spring?
Yeah. I mean, you don't necessarily have to. Both of those very, very hardy plants, hosta especially. I mean,
It just go tuck in like a turtle, sleep.
yeah. I mean,
Tuck in like a turtle.
probably. I mean, either way,
disappears.
either way, like in a pot or in the ground, I think you're going to have success with them coming back next year. So, I mean, if it's easier for you to keep them in a pot and like keep them in your shed or something, or really just keep them anywhere and plant them in the spring, that's totally fine. But if you want to go ahead and get them in the dirt, put them in the dirt.
I would do the hosta now.
Yeah. I
That's
do the
my-
hydrangea too.
that's
I
my
wonder what
2
kind of
cents.
hydrangea it is, but either way, I mean, the thing you have to worry about with hydrangea is if next spring it leaves out early and then we get a late frost,
Yep.
you need to worry about that. So if you were, like Caroline said, if you were going to plant one over the other, probably hosta this time of year, and then wait for hydrangea, wait till, last frost next year, and then after that plant it in
Which
the
is
dirt.
not April 15th, by the way.
No, hardly ever.
No, definitely not.
Usually more towards May 1st, usually.
Towards Mother's Day,
Seems
that's
like
my
it.
go-to.
Seems like every year we have a stupid late frost that's annoying.
Well, and
Makes you mad.
we've had
Yes.
2 early frost here at the nursery. Now, not everybody has gotten those, but we've had
Yes, last
2,
weekend. Yeah.
One pretty significant one, but they were both still frosts. We have our special frost detectors called, it's the Green Room Studio roof right up here. And it never lies. But
Never lies.
But it does freeze.
it does.
It does. I'm not ready for cold. Hey, Tyler, you look like you had something to say.
No, I didn't.
But maybe it's time to push a button.
Yeah, because it's
Hey, but
with Austin.
Hi. What's blooming?
What is blooming,
The
Austin?
same stuff.
The pretty,
But,
yeah.
but
I
you
mean,
know what we should talk about though is the leaves are turning.
I know. I was going to get to that at the end of this, and yes, I'll start with it. Fall color's happening. Things are happening. Dogwoods
Sugar maples are
pretty
looking awesome right now.
Sugar maples
Yeah.
showing off. Yeah, there's a lot of fall color going on. There is some bloom still happening. Shout out to you, Adam. I know this is one of your favorite plants. Is Abelia.
Indeed.
The Abelia.
Indeed.
Such a hardy shrub. And they are still blooming big time. If you feel like you need to cut your abelia, cut it because it doesn't matter.
Yeah, doesn't care.
It doesn't care. It's one of the hardiest shrubs you can buy. Okay, hey, how about all those grasses that are going? And also monkey grass and mondo grass. Look, right up front here, we got a little mondo grass showing off a little bloom. You don't think about them too much, but they do bloom. They're, monkey grass is not really a grass at all. It just kind of looks like
You
one.
might need a magnifying glass
Yeah.
to spot the flowers. But yes.
So your monkey grass is probably actually almost finished blooming and throwing some seed. There was little blue, seed heads. So that's kind of cool. Hey, dahlias. Melissa, shout out, who grows dahlias here. She's got some beauty. She made an arrangement for Ann the other day with some massive dahlias that were just fantastic. And they are still going strong at her
They
house.
were stunning.
Oh, they're great. The fall blooming anemone, still going. The windflower. God, I love that one. Such a great plant. You can divide it from root divisions, which is kind of cool, but really, really easy plant. Hey, you know what you're seeing that's white and small and dainty and cute? All over the place right now.
What?
Wild asters.
Yeah,
The
I've got
white
'em at my
wild
house.
aster.
Yeah,
oh my God. They're
I've got 'em-
everywhere.
I've got them around the base of my clump of trees in the side yard. It's all the way around. Just
Oh,
full
they're
bloom.
everywhere. I mean, they
Yeah.
make shrubs, but they are in full show right now. So if you're seeing that just like shrubby
Scrubby
things that
Yeah.
are blooming white right now, that's what you're seeing. It's the wild asters that we have here.
And you
then
got to
some
be
of
careful
the-
when you're talking about wild asters and not say wild asters.
Yes.
Yeah, you gotta watch it.
And then celosia, y'all, is still fantastic. What an excellent annual plant with dark foliage. Some of them anyway. Really dark foliage, beautiful plumes.
Bloom plume.
Yes, that's where I'm going with that. Celosia's fantastic. And then also your pansies and your mums still popping off, just starting to pop
Just
off. So if you
starting.
ain't got pansies yet, y'all get them. And we brought these white pansies in. Y'all get your colors for sure. Get your pinks, get your reds, get your yellows, whatever. But you got to throw some pure white in there. Changes the
Clock
game.
is running on pansies and violas, by the way.
It is. You
Yes.
better get it. We got the best selection we're going to have probably all year right now.
Oh, it's full
Yep.
in there. Hey,
so full.
Austin.
What?
Aren't you about to plant some pansies?
Yes, I need to.
You need to. And what color are you going with?
I'm going to go a raspberry sorbet color.
Oh,
Yeah.
very specific.
Oh, yeah. Fancy.
You're
that
so
maybe with
fancy.
some purple and then also some pure white. Got to.
Yeah.
Underneath
You'll have
my
to take-
ginkgo tree.
I was just about to say, you'll have to bring a photo in because you also put tulips under them, don't you? In the
I
ground.
did last year, but last year was a horrible tulip year.
he sounds mad about
I'm very
that.
mad about it. Me and Melissa both are mad about it. She planted a ton of tulips last year. None of hers did great either. We didn't get cold enough. I know we had like 3 or 4 days of extreme cold last winter, but our winter last year was really pretty mild, like through the whole winter. So tulips did not have the chill requirements that they needed to bloom. So everybody that grows tulips last year was really annoyed, me included.
So my
And
tulips.
if you didn't buy pre-chilled tulips, then it really exaggerated the situation, exacerbated it, I should say. They do require at least 16 weeks total of dormancy. So, and Caroline, I know you're getting ready to jump in there, but we've mentioned Melissa's name 3 times in this little segment.
Does that
and
mean we
it's worth
sunburned her
mentioning
like
yet
Beetlejuice?
again because Melissa is coming up on her last week of employment
Oh,
at
yeah.
Bates Nursery. You know, she had the nerve to only give me 4 months
Of notice.
the nerve.
How dare her?
months. Melissa is one of the treasures. We've been so fortunate to have her a part of our team here at Bates Nursery. She's an incredibly talented individual. She's going out on her own, and when you see some of the creations she comes up with, you won't wonder why. She's got a lot going on. She is a incredible individual. We're thrilled to know her, and we wish her well in her endeavors going forward. So thank you, Melissa.
Yes,
If you get
thank
out
you,
this
Melissa.
next week, make sure to say hello to her. She's a lady worth getting to know.
Yes, she is. And worth giving her a follow. So her Instagram handle,
Yep.
she does fresh cut flowers that she grows herself. And her Instagram handle is, I believe, Melmac Florals, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
MELMAC Florals.
That's correct.
So you can hire her. You can buy arrangements from her. I know she sets up, I think there's a farmer's market in Brentwood.
Yeah.
And she does set up there weekly or whenever the farmer's market does happen. But yeah, very talented. I mean, Austin talked about her dahlias. is absolutely gorgeous, stunning. I mean, it takes a lot of work to keep these flowers coming, and she is always out in her beds, which is why she's saying goodbye to us, unfortunately, but just to give more time to that. So give her a follow, like all of her stuff, and have her do some arrangements for you.
She made that arrangement the other day, and there was perfect gladiolus in it. And I had to call her on the radio, and I'm like, Melissa, how you got gladiolus blooming right now? Like, mine have been done for like 2 months. And she's like, well, I staggered my planting. So she waited.
Every 2 weeks.
Yes, like every 2 weeks she plants new stuff. Like this woman is, I mean, she's diligent about them cut flowers.
In an amazing way.
She's great. I've worked with her for the past 7 years that I've worked here at Bates. She was here when I started, and she will be missed.
She will. And she also, on that page, does do tips on planting. So she does short reels talking about what she does with her bulbs, how she staggers planting. So also, if you want to learn about growing your own cut flowers, a great, wonderful resource for that. So, yeah. But the thing I wanted to mention about my tulips is mine came up great, but they were all really short.
Yeah.
There was no stem. It was just some leaves and then a flower.
Stub.
And I loved it.
Turned them into crocus-like.
So they were mimicking the person that planted them.
Quit calling me short, Adam. If you weren't all the way across that room right now. Just kidding.
Hey, speaking of all the way across the room, let's go to the big board over here and talk about what's on this board behind me, and that's where we are right now, Bates Nursery and Garden Center. And my grandmother, as you see there on the screen, was the founder of our establishment 91 years ago. And it's pretty amazing that not only have we been able to hang around all these years, but to really continue to thrive and be a part of the vibrant Nashville economy. We're very appreciative of that. And we've continued to try to work on our facilities. And a part of that is the parking area. And you've heard us talking about it. And here's a shot on our blog page at the website. And this kind of gives you a pretty good overview of the main gravel lot that used to be gravel lot, and gravel no more, and the old paving area. This article was entitled "The Hill Is Gone," and those of you who recall, the front parking area was this terrible hill. Everyone hated parking there, so we have dramatically cut down the slope. It still has a little bit, but because we need it to drain, but it's a much kinder and gentler gradient, and it provides ample drainage, but it doesn't make it difficult for you to walk on, as we talked about earlier. It's very much smoother. So and Austin appreciates it because it doesn't make his feet hurt.
Yeah, he doesn't.
It won't make your feet hurt either. So we're grateful to have that behind us. It's been kind of an eventful week for us here at Bates Nursery, and I will talk about it more in next week's newsletter. Every year, the Nashville Scene has the Best of Nashville promotion that comes out, and this past week on Thursday, as a matter of, is it Wednesday?
Wednesday.
It was Wednesdays when it was. The winners for this year's event came out in all the variety of categories, and once again, Bates Nursery and Garden Center was very gratified to have been voted the Best of Nashville and Nursery and Garden Centers. Our 20th time to have won that award. I don't know if there's another business who has won 20 times in any category, but we're very grateful for that. We're very appreciative of all the support that we get, not just through voting on the Nashville Scene, but also through all of the other things that we have going on, such as the End of Guard with Bates Nursery newsletter, which is what this is derived from right here. And if you go to our main homepage, you will see that there is a newsletter link. If you just scroll down a little bit, you can put your name, email address, and you agree to be emailed. And the reason I mention that is that I can only say that it's a bit shocking to me, but this newsletter that I write weekly has been voted the best local blog in Nashville. So
Yeah.
thank you to all who voted for that. And those, more importantly, those who read it every week. And if you'd like to receive that, just go to the website, batesnursery.com, and just barely scroll down. You'll see the newsletter sign up. And you too can receive it. And we don't share your information with anyone. And if you decide you don't want to receive it anymore, you can unsubscribe. So we're pretty easy that way. And I think I can only attribute whatever success that we've had with it for it to be somewhat equal parts information and entertainment. I cannot. About 6 months into writing this, and I actually began 15 years ago, I quickly ran out of horticultural acumen to write about. Just that. I mean, it's it's just very hard to get enlightening about the cambium layer of whatever. So I had to try to get the things that I think are a little bit more relatable to people, and hopefully tie in gardening aspects to that. So thank you for that. For the approaching 31,000 people who do subscribe to the newsletter, I thank you for that very much. And if you would like to be one of those people and you're not already, just sign up right here. Bates Nursery and Garden Center. We've got all this stuff, and more than the plants and the trees and the shrubs, we have got expertise. You got a sampling of it here around the green room this morning, but we've got a whole host of horticulturalists who are ready, willing, and able to help you. Bring his photographs in on your smartphone or a tablet. That'll help give us a look at your unique landscape situation and help you to get the right plants in the right place the first time. That's the way we try to do it here at Bates Nursery and Garden Center, where, again, we've been beautifying Nashville since 1932, Bates Nursery and Garden Center. So thank you for giving us a couple of moments to talk about what's all been going on this week and to say thank you. It's particularly for the patience in getting through this parking lot ordeal. It's been
an ordeal.
It's been an ordeal. Gosh, it's just.
But worth it. It looks amazing.
I'm glad I didn't. Like every project I get into, I'm glad I don't fully appreciate just how difficult it is on the front end.
Until you're halfway into it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would never do it otherwise. So thankfully, we got through it.
Yes, we
There you
did.
go.
And again, looks great. We've gotten some comments this morning about how wonderful it does look. Everybody coming into the parking lot. I mean, watching trucks come in, it's so much quieter and less dusty. And it seems safer. We did get a live question in on the At Home Show page from Gina. She is asking, does the Dura Heat River Birch have white bark at some time in its season cycle?
Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, it's more like in its age.
Yeah.
Like as they get older, they get that white bark a lot more so than when they're young. When they're young, you don't notice it all that much, and it does exfoliate. The bark peels. Fun fact about birch: if you're ever in a pinch in the woods or something, you need to spark a fire. The birch little paper bark that flakes off of it is like super flammable.
I remember learning that in the Smokies from a ranger.
I'm curious, is the Dura Heat a white birch cultivar or is it a river birch cultivar?
It's a river birch cultivar, but it does peel. It's not like super white. It's not like those birches that live
like
up
a
north.
tan white.
Kind of creamy color.
Creamy.
Yeah, almost. Yeah,
it's light tan.
It's not like the actual white birch that
Which
you're thinking about.
doesn't grow here.
That doesn't
because
live here.
It's too hot.
Too hot. Yeah. I mean, maybe you can get lucky with one or two, but no, for the most part, Adam's right. They live up north of here. So we sell river birch cultivar and cultivars, and Heritage is one that is probably prized for its best white bark in the river birch world, but Dura Heat's a good variety, hence the name. River birch tends to want to shut down a little bit early here too, kind of like the cherries we were talking about. Like they'll drop their leaves a little bit early. Dura Heat can handle the heat a little bit better.
Well, as the name implies, the common name implies, is river birch, which means that in nature it usually grows next to a river or a creek or some kind of stream. So when you use it as a corner plant,
likely overwater it.
Correct. So when you use it as a corner plant on your house somewhere and it starts to defoliate in August, it's because it's not near a river or a stream and it's hot and dry. So
and like David said, you can't overwater a river birch. So on that first season, keep that thing wet. And once it latches in, you won't have to water it anymore after that, typically. Like my mom's got a 40-foot birch in her backyard that's just on a hillside. It's not like it's getting water or anything, but it's living great. So, river birch, they grow so fast.
Yeah.
They're also so dirty. They drop sticks like you wouldn't believe.
Dirty trees that grow
either
fast.
have to be okay with the
kindling.
defoliation or be okay with watering them all the time to keep them foliated.
All right, we got a loaded question. Roses, butterfly bush, and Weigelia fall cutting, question mark. How much or wait until spring? So we've got those three, roses, butterfly bush, and Weigelia.
All three are the same.
Yep.
All three are the same. When they go dormant, cut them back. And I do recommend this, especially Weigela and butterfly bush, especially if you have like one of the old school butterfly bushes that get 5-6 feet in a season. Give them a nice hefty cutback. Both of those. Roses as well. I mean, roses you can shorten as well. But we're going to wait till dormancy. So they're all still holding on to their leaves right now. Let's give them about a month, and they probably won't have any leaves on them at all. And then anytime during dormancy over the wintertime, let's give them a cutback. All three bloom off new wood, so it's not going to be a big deal if you cut any of them back over the winter. So, yeah, I recommend it.
Go ahead and give them a chop coming up soon. What can I plant in a 2-foot bed west facing? My builder left me with that. I'd love color.
How about some fire chief?
Arborvitae. Hey, that's foliage color.
Fire chief.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. How about
It gets what, 2 to 3 foot tall
That's
and wide,
about
something
it.
like that. Yeah,
Pretty much, yeah.
Should
Yeah.
fit in there.
very good foliage color? If you want flower power, I mean, the Drift Rose series is
Yep.
always nice. They really throw a lot of color through the whole season. Now, it is a rose. So when you plant a rose, you're not just going to set it and forget it, okay? There's some things you got to do. But if you love color,
You're going to shove it and love it.
that's right. Shove it, love it. And deadhead it.
Yes.
That's the big. I saw a picture yesterday. A guest showed me of her neighbor's house that had all these plants that were blooming, and it was a very hard picture for me to see. It was far away. She sneakily went to the yard to take a picture of what these plants were, and she brought it in. I'm like, those are drift roses. That's all they are. Drift roses are blooming like crazy right now. Good little plant to grow if you like a lot of. There's no other shrub, okay, y'all, that blooms as much as dwarf roses do. I mean, they almost continuously throw blooms, but they do take a little bit of work.
Yeah, the greatest difficulty I see people having with drift roses is remembering that they are a shrub and they need to be trimmed.
Yes.
They don't get trimmed enough.
No, they don't.
And I know it's difficult to cut the flowers off of them when they're blooming, in July and even into August. But if you do that, you bring those branchings back in and you recompress and compact where the flowers are coming out from. So it's very hard for people to do that, but it's a thing you should do if you want to keep them in bounds and keep them thick.
You should. I mean, I tell you, our rose section, whenever we are out here during the growing season and the roses all have leaves on them, I would say at least once a month, one of our employees, no matter who it is, will spend a day in the rose section literally deadheading and pruning once a month at least with all of our shrubs. What you got to do to keep them clean. It's also helpful because roses don't always keep beautiful foliage all the time, okay? They get a lot of black spot. There's a lot of insect injury that happens with roses if you're not spraying and all that. So giving them a good prune will get rid of a lot of those insects and give you new foliage and new blooms. So do it.
Do it. Go ahead.
Just do it.
All right, let's go ahead and do it by answering this question. Easiest climber that is leafy and white for full sun.
Climber,
A
like
climber?
vine?
Yeah.
Vining?
Vining.
Well,
leafy,
I would say
white, full sun.
right now, Sweet Autumn Clematis would be great.
That's a
It's
good
going to be
plant.
blooming right now.
I saw that all over. I think I was in Salem recently. I think that's where I was. And it was everywhere. And it looked absolutely gorgeous. Like
that-
growing over these little white picket fences around all these spooky witch
That's
houses.
kind of the problem
It's
with it
amazing.
also, is that it
Yes.
does grow
It
all
Does,
over.
Goes
yeah,
everywhere.
it takes over.
But he did say, or he or she, I'm not sure, said easiest climber. So
that
It
would
is
be
easy.
easy.
That is pretty easy. I mean, I won't say necessarily easy, but the climbing white iceberg rose,
sure.
y'all.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be stunning.
Pure, crisp, white. It's fantastic.
Amazing.
I think, Austin, you need to get some counseling. You're
I love a white rose. Adam.
I'm just saying, man, you might want to see somebody.
They
in
kill
love
me.
with white roses.
I've got a white climbing iceberg.
How is
Beautiful.
it?
It's in bloom right now.
Is it? You need
Yeah.
to take a picture.
Okay.
Okay.
I will.
I didn't know you still had one.
Yeah.
I thought it died.
No, that was the only one that came back from see, that with the iceberg rose is on its own rootstock. It's
Correct.
not grafted.
Yeah. It is
So
a
whenever
better-
it
yeah.
does come back from the roots, it still comes back true to type.
Right.
So, yeah,
Okay.
they're pretty. They're great.
Hey, we got
They are
time for one
gorgeous.
more, or are we done?
We do. I was going to throw one more out there. Is there any advantage to planting violas over pansies?
Only that violas are tougher. They are.
Yep. Cold
Cute
weather
and
will
dainty.
affect them less.
Yeah.
Smaller blooms, but tons more of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a good mix of both is nice.
Yeah.
It's nice to have little
so
ones with the
cute.
big ones. But big pansies, it's just hard not. I mean, look at this pure white pansy. It's just hard not to want that.
Austin,
What?
get some help, man.
But
Those white
violas are
flowers.
particularly nice in small containers that you're walking directly beside of because they don't have that big splash of color like pansies do. You need to be a little bit closer to them. If you're driving by them at 30 miles an hour down the road, you almost won't see them.
Yeah.
If you have
Correct.
violas out there, but pansies are just the opposite. So it has like everything to do with where they're being placed, and if you're in a container by the walkway, certainly they're quite showy and lovely and very hardy.
Hey, really quickly, Jill on the Bates Facebook page, best evergreen, not a holly for dry shade.
Plum you.
Plum.
Oh, that one is a great one.
Cephalotaxis.
Yeah.
Those can go dry for
or-
so long.
And they have an upright
Or
version.
Lacothe also would
Lacothe,
work
yep.
too. Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
There it is.
Well, and the music means that we've done it for another episode. Adam, thanks for
Yes,
jumping
sir.
in here
My
again
pleasure.
for another week. Josh, we'll be back next week, so we want to. I know everyone is anticipating that return of Josh Cary,
Anticipation.
and as are we. And we want to thank you all for tuning in today. And remember, we're here to answer questions, whether it's plants on the inside or plants on the outside. We're all about gardening here at the At Home Show. So tune in weekly. We're here to help you. Make sure and check out the Gardening Inside Out blog that comes out weekly also as well. So that's here right on YouTube. Thank you much. We'll see you next time around.